Now to Mauritania, where the Electoral Commission results show the ruling party is in the lead in the legislative, regional and local council elections held earlier this month. On Sunday, the Electoral Commission said the party had so far won 67 of the 157 National Assembly seats, compared with 14 for the second place, which the Islamist party, Tawasul, won, as well as 4 of the 13 regional councils and 108 of 219 municipalities. Now, the opposition group has denounced the result as flawed. The leader of the RFD party, Ahmed Dada, alleged the Electoral Commission was incompetent and allowed the ruling party to falsify the elections.
Now we're joined on the line by El Hajfal, the spokesman for Biram Da Abed, opponent in Mauritania. Good morning, Hajfal. The results of the first round have been published and the opposition talks about fraudulent elections. Is that the same observation you have made? I can confirm that we had elections that were not the most suitable, in the sense that some of us could supervise the elections as observers or opposition members of CENI. And unfortunately, we saw things that were not correct. We saw some people who were forced out of the polling stations. We saw some people who came with a lot of ballots to put them in the polls, and unfortunately for them, our representatives did not accept this and they had to be taken out by police. Indeed, these are not things that are appropriate regardless of the election and the country it takes place in. So you're the spokesperson for Mr. Biram, who was elected although he has been detained for more than 30 days. What do you think was the key? I think we didn't get the result we could have if he had not been in prison. The objective of the system in place is to put him in prison and to prevent him from suffering a crushing defeat during the elections. So the only solution they had was to put him in prison and yet still have the opportunity to supervise the elections despite all that was prevented and despite the fact that a certain number of our candidates did not appear on the electoral list, knowing that they were candidates. But despite all this, we still managed to mobilize the Mauritanian society to move in the direction we wanted ourselves. That is, he came out on top of the national list. So your candidate was arrested following a complaint for slander, insults and incitement to hatred. Today, where does the case stand? Unfortunately, what we have been denouncing for some time now is that nothing has been done in accordance with the rules of the law and justice, even if it is only towards one person. And unfortunately, a complaint, regardless of who has made it, there is a classic procedure going on. Unfortunately, there are complaints that were filed years ago that were never investigated. And the journalist's complaint, unfortunately, was investigated in a short time, in less than a month.
Malheureusement, il a été arrêté, et sachant que dans une situation pareille, on n'a pas besoin d'arrêter, on n'a pas besoin de venir chercher l'individu.
It is indeed considered that this is not already a traditional procedure. He was arrested knowing that in this situation, we cannot stop him. We asked him to go to the police station, but we didn't pick him up at his house. When he was arrested and kept in prison for 1 month, the investigating judge was previously appointed by the prosecutor's office and they wanted to investigate his case. So let's go back to the elections. They were considered test elections in the run-up to next year's presidential elections. What are the shortcomings that you think need to be addressed since you're denouncing this election? We're simply asking that CENI does its work properly. We want that it sees the regularities and reports them. It had to do something about the polling stations, particularly in France, where I myself am a representative. Things that were not right We denounce them. We invite the INEC to do its job reasonably. There are things that the state, unfortunately, and the regime in place does not look at, and the opposition and INEC to get opposition representatives out of the polling stations. It's not just logical, it's normal in any country. The fact that the results of the elections were postponed, or the polling stations could be recounted almost the next day, that were given the results in good time, that people are allowed to campaign, and that the regime is fair. Thank you for your feedback on our case El Hajfa, the spokesperson for Biram Da Abed.
Opposant mauritanien qui s'exprimait donc depuis Paris en France.